They call it banging where we hanging. North Florida, 904. Good shit, good state. Blood of water, come on. Duval, Bangum, Westside, J-Bill, Duval, Hustle House, Frank Coleman, he real. Duval, Bangum, Billy, Rankin, throw your D's in the air. Lift you from the Bangum. Duval, Duval, Duval. If you from a city, holla Duval, Duval, Duval. If you rep my city, holla Duval. Yeah, boy, don't them youngins go hard. Swinging in them drop top Chevy, sitting too tall. Jaguar on my plate, on my feet. 2 8 4 5 on my hip. Set it lame, nigga straight. In my hood, yeah, dog, it's kinda hard in this part. Homicide talking about it's like a teacher on the school board. In regards, I do this for my bitches in my trap star. Futuristic plays with the J's, called it Star Wars. If you talking Jackson, won't you meet me at the Amoco, right across from Paris? Got work, got grade A, butter deal. Cop the work from the A, you brung it to the Ville. Duval, Bangum, Westside, J-Bill, Duval, Hustle House, Frank Coleman, he real. Duval, Bangum, Billy, Rankin, throw your D's in the air. Lift you from the Bangum. Duval, Duval, Duval. If you from a city, holla Duval, Duval, Duval. If you rep my city, holla. Catch me on Nelson, Norman E. Thagger. We used to call it Fish Street, where the cheese mango. I'm talking Bill, my nigga Mike Brown. What up, ghost man? I miss your K-Ron. I seen your brother Leonard. Yeah, he doing fine. 2 boys now, keep him on the grind. I'm still in the hood, where my credit's good. Beacon so high, still smoking good. Sweet tank paint, sweet tank shoes. I'm talking about the bird, call it chicken coop. Burnt orange lamb, at the video shoot. Bottom of the map, nigga, what it do? Duval, Bangum, Westside, J-Bill, Duval, Hustle House, Frank Coleman, he real. Duval, Bangum, Billy, Rankin, throw your D's in the air. Lift you from the Bangum. Duval, Duval, Duval. If you from a city, holla Duval, Duval, Duval. If you rep my city, holla. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up, DJ Jig? What up, Q45? Still cool running. Billy kept it live. What up, Silk Fox? Yo, Masquerade. What up, G-Roy? Play my shit, man. It's still P-Town. Westside gang. Riding down Edgewood, bumping Gucci Mane. Super Chino mixtape. It go hard. What up, Young Cash? What up, Nappy Boy? What's going on, guys? How's everyone doing? Happy Taco Tuesday. We just want to make sure that we are live and in color. We have everyone ready to go. We're going to get the show started. Hope that everyone is enjoying their Tuesday. Let's see who's all in the queue. Um, Tonight's show is a Duval takeover. As you all know, I'm honored to have my Duval King and Queen on. So this is like an introduction, like not necessarily introduction, but this is kind of like when we talked about we were introducing another segment of our up and coming. So I think we all kind of started off in the same time. Maybe Kamaya was a little bit behind me or whatever, but still in the same generation. And so I definitely wanted them to be able to come on and just tell a little bit about their story. And of course, their big, huge give up this weekend. And so we will keep them on for a little bit and split up some questions to get to know them personally. For those of you that aren't aware of who Mr. and Miss Duval is, I had a great year with them, or half a year, however long it's been. Unfortunately, they're leaving. Now, just playing. And I will have to have a new king and queen. But yeah, so make sure you share the live. Anybody that is interested in Duval this weekend, it is in Jacksonville, Florida. It is Saturday and Sunday. Some people think that it's just one day, but it's not. It is actually Saturday and Sunday. So if you miss one day, you're going to miss half the pageant. So make sure that you are coming out and supporting the Duval system. Um, you can reach out to any of the systems court to see what the monies is as far as what you want to, how much it is to be. And I think that Kendall, being the administrator that he is, will be able to tell you, because I don't want to give y'all the wrong price and then y'all get to the door and you're mad at me. Other than that, we want to say shout out to all of the winners this weekend. I think the NBU had a prelim, Diego's prelim, House of Jewels. Shouts out to Kennedy, Davenport, Gabriel Times, as well as Tiana Love for placing to go to NBU this October. And then I don't know if there's any other pageants that happen this weekend. But if there were, congratulations to you. I don't want to keep them long because these are working people. They are getting ready for their give ups. I want to go ahead and bring them on because they are ready and on time. So first we'll start with the king. You all know him as the chocolate Kendall in the community, and he is Mr. Kendall Keontae Bonet.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. You good?
I'm good. I've been trying not to get emotional and all of that.
Don't start that. Don't start that mess.
Just been trying to get stuff done.
Don't start that.
I mean, I'm trying not to.
Okay.
But this weekend, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, so good. Well, every king has a queen, y'all. So we want to bring on the beautiful Kamaya Times.
Hi,
Hi, Miss
everyone.
Duval.
Hi, Queen. Hi, King.
How are you?
Hey,
I'm doing well. How are
I'm
you?
I'm good. Oh, wait a minute. Do y'all have on y'all t-shirts? And y'all didn't tell me to put mine on?
I do.
Okay. Okay. I see. So we're starting off already.
I
No.
mean,
Well, you said Duval takeover.
Well, I do have on my doing Duval, so that's close. But I could have been matching with y'all. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to bring on Wendell. He's always late, but he's here, so we'll bring him on as well. All
Hi,
right. So
Uncle.
everyone
what's
has
going on,
made
Wendell?
it. I first want to say thank you all for giving us this hour of your time. I know that you two are busy. A give up is almost like getting ready for a passion again, so y'all know how that is. Kendall has already stated that he is emotional, so I can only imagine what Saturday and Sunday would be like. I talked to Kamaya a little bit today, and so she is getting herself together, but we know she always pulls it together. So thank you for coming on and just talking a little bit about not just your give up and your reign, but about your story, because some people may not know it. And we'll be able to take a little time and split up some of the questions between both of you and be able to talk to you about who you are as an entertainer and a little bit about who you are outside of the stage. Okay?
Sounds good.
King, you got anything?
No, I'm not Duval, so I'm just listening.
Well, you're not Continental or USA, the other people we've had on, so
Well, I'm sure I'm
But
gonna
you,
say something.
right. So let me start off with Kendall. You've been in the game for a while. I would say, what would you say, about 20 years now?
it's been
20.
22 years, 23
22
years.
years. Okay. And so you've seen a lot, you've been through a lot, you've done a lot, you've won a lot, you've lost a lot, unfortunately. Um, my first question for you is what keeps you going when it comes to this industry of pageantry?
Did you freeze?
Did you hear me?
I didn't hear you. I heard you. I
Okay.
just heard the part that said this industry of pageantry.
Yeah. What keeps you going when it comes to this industry of pageantry?
It definitely is my passion for it. I enjoy competing. I enjoy being on stage. I enjoy entertaining. Anything creative where I can just show my talents and express
Mhm.
myself to the masses. That's always something that I kind of gravitate towards. I grew up doing a lot of talent shows and dancing, modeling. You name it, I pretty much did it. So when I came into the space of the LGBTQIA plus community, and I found out about pageantry, it was just like, okay, yeah. Because I always wanted to do pageants when I was a kid. And with me being so involved in uh, just like the extracurriculars in my hometown and, in other places, I was always kind of like left out because the girls always got to do the little pageants, Miss Azalea and little tiny Miss Azalea, but they never had them for the boys. And I danced with the girls who were doing the pageant. So it was something that I, definitely desired to do. So when I came into the fold, it was just like, oh, yeah, definitely
Okay.
doing that. And then, but that's what pretty much keeps me going. I've always just had a passion for being on stage.
Okay. And Kamaya, you are someone that has become a household name almost, I would say, like overnight. You don't mind getting in the ring, you don't mind competing, and most of the time you are winning. I think this year you've held so many titles and you did it well individually. So, the same question for you: what keeps you motivated and keep going in this industry when you, as a girl, we know that we deal with more than the guys do, or I think we do? What keeps you going, makes you want to keep competing and being beautiful and doing all these things?
So I would have to say the same for me. The passion that I have for the art form and for competing in pageantry, and that passion came from a unique place. Because I was, as a child, I was a band geek and I was one of a kind. I come from a small town, and all of my siblings and my cousins, everyone, the other guys played sports, and they had a lot of family support in regards to the sports. But because I was into the band, and like I said, one of the only one in my family, I didn't have a lot of support. Growing up, I come from, I would like to say we were wealthy, so financially I had everything that I needed. My parents would make sure that I had all the money to support me, but no one ever came physically to be there to support me. And it wasn't until I got older and started doing drag, and I learned through experience what it felt like to have people to actually care enough to come and support. And through that, I fell in love with the art form and with competing in pageantry, and that's kind of what keeps me going. When I learned what that support felt like, it created a fire in me to be great and to continue no matter what. And so that's the reason that I continue to compete
Okay.
or
Uh,
engage in the art form.
and how long have you been in the art form?
I was just about 10 or 12 years, child. No, honestly, I guess I'll tell my age. I graduated high school in 2008, so I probably started competing in pageantry about 2010
Okay.
as a
Okay.
newcomer.
So about
Yeah.
15 years. That's about right.
Hmm.
Okay, that makes sense. Um, Take us back, Kamaya, to your first pageant. What was it? What did you place? And what did you learn from that experience?
My first pageant, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Miss Metro Newcomer. There were, I think, three contestants. My sister Ramaya Black was the winner. Um, I think I got first runner up. I don't even remember who the other contestant was. Um, and it was interesting. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people had taken to me because I was a fresh face. A lot of people thought that I was pretty. I invested a lot into my craft, even as a newcomer, and I think that people appreciated me for that. So after the pageant, I wasn't successful, and I read the score sheets, and all of the judges gave me tens all night, just about, except one judge. And I thought in that moment that this judge is at me, and he's cheating for Ramaya because she's his granddaughter or whatever. And he was really working against me. In time, I learned that the critiques, the things that he told me were valid. He's actually one of my favorite people as a judge because even though I thought that he was hard, he's one of the people that I would deem responsible for me being an effective competitor today because those critiques that he provided for me were actually valid. And I learned to remove the feelings from the score sheets. When you review the score sheets, remove your feelings and try to consider the critiques if they are valid or not. And you take some and leave some. And oftentimes there are a lot of valid critiques that we neglect the opportunities to consider because we're in our feelings.
Mm, that's good. And Kendall, same question for you. Your first pageant, what was it? What did you place? And what did you learn from it, good or bad?
Well, my first pageant was in 2003, and that was Mr. Black America Newcomer. I won on my first try, so that was my initiation into pageantry. What I learned from it was that rejection is a huge fuel for me. It really, really lights a fire under my butt. And when people tell me that I can't do something, that that's going to be what pushes me to do it. When I was preparing for Black American Newcomer, I was told by a certain set of individuals that were living in Orlando at the time that I wouldn't be crowned because I wasn't light skinned. Um, uh, yeah, because all of the boys were, for the most part, a little lighter in complexion, or at least lighter than me. I was real, real, real dark at that time because I was living in Florida. So, um, yeah, that's what I was told. But I went on to compete and I won. So, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. To both of you, in that moment, did you feel like I'm going to go on, even though you didn't win or whatever? I'm going to go on. Did you feel like you would become who you become today, or was it just trial and error? Did you know that you all will become this big entity today?
So I would say I never thought that I would be where I am today. I didn't even think that that was possible for me or what have you. I knew that I would continue to compete in pageantry because I feel as though I had found a place where I felt like I belong. I'm accepted here and I feel comfortable and welcome. And outside of band, there isn't many other things that I could say that I felt as though I belong. So I knew that I would continue to compete, but I didn't think that I could be where I am today at all.
Okay. And as for
What?
me, I didn't know. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, what about you?
Well, as for me, I didn't necessarily know what the future would hold after I competed for Black America, but I did know that I wanted to be something great in entertainment. And if a lot of the opportunity that I would, basically do whatever was necessary to make sure that I did become someone great. So
Okay. Now, to both of you, you all are some people are I would think that some people are looking up to you in this industry and taking bits and pieces from you. Kamaya, you're known for backstage and girls. Kendall, you have your own business when it comes to how you do your marketing, your t-shirts, your stuff like that. What are lessons that you are learning, or that you excuse me, what are lessons that you are teaching to the younger generation that maybe you learned as you were coming up?
Go
did
ahead,
you want to
King.
go first? Okay. Well, for me, I would say one of the major lessons that I've learned is to be your authentic self and not be afraid of how people will perceive you for being you. um, I mean, seriously, be your authentic self. No one can beat you at being you. You can try to be a carbon copy of someone else in this industry and take what they've done and try to duplicate it or replicate it, but again, like when you're being who you are, like it will come across as genuine and people will recognize you for who you are. So again, the advice that I would give anybody coming up behind me, and that I would hope that people are taking from me is to be authentic, to be real in who you are and what you desire, and what your goals are, your ambitions, and just stay true to that.
For me, I would say to never give up. Um, don't allow your growing pains to keep you from who or what you're destined to become. Also, I would say that I hope and I'm teaching people is to always be humble, put God first, and anything that you set your heart out to do, you can accomplish.
Did either of you have moments in the 20 plus years or the 15 years that you all have been doing this where you wanted to give up, wanted to stop, or did give up and came back?
I definitely did. I had taken a small break for a little while after my experience competing in pageantry, black pageantry on a national level. And I personally felt as though I wasn't getting my just due. I feel like I had given all that I had to give, and it just wasn't good enough. So for me and my emotions, my mental, my sanity, I decided that it was best to take a break away from pageantry for a little while. Because I'm so passionate about it, that while it didn't last very long, I came back and I think that I am bigger and better than ever.
Okay. As for me, I couldn't necessarily rationalize the investment into pageantry. I felt, at a point that it was a waste of money to gamble to the capacity that we gamble when we compete. We spend a lot of money, and in order to be competitive, like, you have to be at a certain part, you have to be at a certain level. So for me, I actually did take a break. I took a break for about 11, 12 years. So it was very much so extended. And that was because I really started to focus in on my own personal business. And I, I found out that I was gaining a lot more from being behind the scenes of pageantry than I was from being on stage. But that fueled that fire for me being on stage, because I'm an artist and an entertainer first and foremost. Um, that just would not go away. So I'm back.
Mhm. And in those short times that you all took a break, we know that things constantly evolve or change. What is one thing that you both noticed in your break and when you came back that had changed in the art form, if anything?
I
Hmm.
noticed that. You want to go ahead, Queen?
No, go ahead.
I think I noticed that uh, the investments that people were making had changed, and that people were really really starting to spend a lot, a lot more money, but that the times were different. When I started doing pageants, like, you could always depend on somebody to get you a return, or what I'm saying, or do a little something for sponsorship. Like, and when I decided I was going to come back, like, it was just like, okay, the sponsorship ain't the same. You just can't expect your Judy to bring you up, to drop you a bag off. Here, girl, this for sponsorship. This just to help you with your entry fee. So that was one of the major things that I saw had changed. But one of the things that did not change was a lot of these prize packages. So it still was some kind of like trepidation when I was, considering coming back. But definitely, you know, the times had changed. People aren't doing what they used to do, and people are literally having to work and spend their hard-earned money to compete in these competitions. And you know, so that was definitely something that I noticed.
Um, if I had to say one thing I noticed that had changed, I think that um, people had started to really kind of slow down with allowing pageantry systems to play in their face, and then they run back and allow them to do it again and again and again. I think people had kind of slowed down with competing or returning when they felt as though they were treated unfairly.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I think there was a time that, and even before my time, that people just competed, regardless as to the experience, how they were treated, how they were made to feel, and whatever the outcome was, people continued to go year after year after year, and I think that that had slowed down over the time that I had kind of went on a little hiatus.
Okay. When do you have any questions?
I do actually. So Kamaya, I heard you say earlier that when you were like in high school, you had the financial backing from your family, but they were not necessarily physically there. So when I think of you now, I know that you are like self-made. You know, like everyone knows that Kamaya gonna do it. She's gonna be there. She's gonna have makeup. Do you think that your childhood prepared you for that for now? As far as being
Um,
able to depend on yourself, knowing that you have to depend on you.
Absolutely. I know that it did because, like I said, the support was very minimal. In that moment, I thought that, I'm living the best life. I'm getting everything that I need because financially I had that. But it was that genuine care and concern and encouragement, motivation, and just physical support that I lacked. And as a result of that, I was forced to do it alone, to learn alone, to be great on my instrument alone and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So absolutely, that prepared me for. Many endeavors, as an adult, to be able to be self sufficient and withstand whatever alone.
And out of curiosity, what instruments do you play, or what instrument do you play?
I started out playing the trumpet. What I played for most of my years was the baritone.
Okay.
A lot of people ask, "Girl, you play an instrument?" I actually really, really, really miss marching in the band and playing the instrument. People say, "Well, girl, why you don't play instrument for talent?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Well, baritone isn't really a feminine instrument, but I think I'm kind of coming around to maybe trying it at some point to see what happens."
Pull it
Um,
out.
but yeah,
I think you should. That would
I
I
be
would
definitely
love
so
think
to.
you
different.
should.
Yeah, I think
I
it
mean,
would.
it's talent you to play it, so I
Talent.
think
It's definitely talent.
you
And it's
should
something that I
definitely
really, really
consider it.
enjoy. So I'm sure I'll do well at it. So
And
I
if
think
you
I'll give
if
it a shot sooner than
and if
later.
you need a dance girl or a flag person, let me know. I'm sure. And then King, I know. Don't King? Don't you play the keyboards?
I play multiple instruments,
So we could listen.
See, I have a
including
band.
baritone.
So you never
And
know.
we
One day I might be playing in his band. He's up there singing, and I'm back behind him playing in the band.
Right, right. We have to use these talents. Um, family. Wendell kind of hit on it a little bit with you, Kamaya, but Kendall, how is your family with your life, and are they aware of what you do when it comes to entertainment?
they're absolutely aware with what I do as far as entertainment is concerned. My mom is my biggest supporter. She's always been that. In fact, my second year competing for Duval, I think it was, my mom sang with me for talent. Was it the second year or the first year? But my
Oh
mom,
wow,
she's come to multiple pageants that I've competed in. Again, she's been in my talents, the whole nine. My family is super supportive of me. They've always encouraged me to be me, and I've always been able to just
gotcha. Be you, and I know
be
Kamaya,
me.
you definitely had that support. I know you recently lost your mom, and I know she was supportive. But all of your other family members, how are they when it comes to knowing Kamaya and what you do on stage?
Um, I would say that they are fairly supportive. It's so crazy because my mom made sure that everyone knew what I was doing, even before I was comfortable with them knowing. I'm like, girl, don't tell nobody I'm dressing up and I'm doing all of this. And before I knew it, she had sent pictures to the entire family. I'm like, oh my God, I'm trying to be on the down low. And you don't spill my tea or whatever. But my mom absolutely adored Kamaya the entertainer. When I decided to transition, then that's a different story. But she would come every chance that she had to the pageants and shows. And we're from the country, we're a little ghetto, so she's at the stage, just my baby, my baby, my baby, going crazy. I'm like, girl, get somewhere and sit down. You are embarrassing me. It was so funny. Um, but my family, of course, everyone knows now. A lot of my family actually call me Kamaya, opposed to my legal name.
Oh,
I don't really have family that really comes to support. Duval is Father's Day weekend, and so I was on the fence about going to compete last year because, especially after losing my mom, I don't want to miss the opportunity to share time with my dad on such an important day. So I did. I decided to go ahead and compete, and I told myself that this year I was going to try and invite him and get him to come to the pageant. The child that hadn't happened.
Right.
But yeah, my family is fairly supportive. They love to see me making clothes and doing makeup and all that. My family, my aunties tell me all the time, girl, you should go in business and you can really make a lot of money. Do you open up your own boutique and all of that? So
Mhm.
they're really, really supportive in the talents that I have presented while being part of the art form as well.
Okay, that's good. So I'm gonna throw out some personal questions to you all differently, and you just answer them as you go. Kamaya, what is something that you enjoy eating all the time?
I love, love, love Rotel dip. I
So
can
what?
cook it. I cooked it actually since this is a busy week for me. I cooked it yesterday and eat on it all week.
So will there be any rotel dip this weekend? Are you too busy for that?
I think there will be seafood this weekend.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So King, other King, because I call him King, but I call both of y'all King actually.
His name is
But
Kendall.
Kendall,
I ain't got the wall.
we'll get to that a little higher in the
Because
program.
I had jumped.
Kendall, Kendall, what is your favorite color and why?
My favorite color is black. I mean, I think it's a color that's underrated. Most people don't define it as their perfect color or their favorite color. It represents strength to me. I definitely am a person who has a lot of pride in who I am. So I think the color black, just kind of represents that for me. It's a bold color. It can be paired with anything. It's universal. It has the ability to adapt to its surroundings and make its surroundings shine a little brighter. So, you
Okay.
know, um, black is definitely my
Okay.
favorite color.
Okay, Kendall, this question's for you too. Pick three things that you know you can work on about yourself.
Three things that I can work on about me: giving my energy to individuals or situations that don't deserve it. Um, I think another thing that I can probably work on is me being a captain save a hoe, if I can say that. A lot of times I make other people's problems my problems when I should just be saying, not my clowns, not my circus. Um, and then the last thing, and I've actually gotten a lot better at this through, you know, going to therapy, is procrastination. A lot of the times I will wait to the last minute to do
Really?
things that, yeah, I'm a huge procrastinator at times. Most people probably wouldn't know it because I generally get things done in a crunch,
Right.
but I am the person where, like, if I know I have to have something done by Friday at 12 a.m., it may be 11 a.m., or it may be 11 p.m.
Mhm.
Thursday before I actually initiate. Because, oh, I know I can do that with my eyes closed. It probably take me 30 minutes to do that, another 5 minutes to do that. Yeah, I can have it done in an hour. And so I put everything else as precedent over what it is that I need to get done for that time slot. Um, and so that's definitely something that I
Yeah.
could work on as well.
Okay. I would have never thought you were procrastinating because you're just so administratively done. But when I think about like the last time you had to go somewhere, you talking about packing, and I was like, he waited a little too late, like me. Like I still haven't packed for this weekend, but I think none of us have packed for this weekend, so I'm
No,
in
I
good
haven't
company.
packed anything.
Ka- Kamaya, tell us what is your biggest fear?
Hmm.
If you have one.
I would go with I don't think I have a greatest fear in this moment. And I say that because I think I've just about experienced what there is, to fear most.
Mhm,
And I'm navigating through that.
mhm.
Um, and that's definitely making me much stronger than I ever thought I could be. So I don't think there's anything specific that I just totally fear.
Okay. So tell us what is your biggest pet peeve?
Hmm. My biggest pet peeve, I think, is inconsistency in people.
Okay.
That really, really gets under my skin. Also, crazy noises. I think I'm an old soul, a lot like my mom. So a lot of whining or crazy squealing noises also gets under my skin. And being lied to.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. King, what makes you smile?
I think seeing other people smile makes me smile. I genuinely live a life of service, and when I can do something to impact someone else's day, to make them feel better about themselves or better about their situations, it really, really, really does make me smile,
Okay.
internally and externally. So
Gotcha. Kamaya, who's your celebrity crush?
Don't have one.
You don't have a celebrity. You just be like, oh yeah.
I mean, I don't really. I don't know. I don't have. I'm sure I'm probably the first person on the show that have said that, but I don't think I have a celebrity crush.
Okay. Okay. How about that? Kendall, if you could be best friends with a celebrity, who do you think it would be?
if I were best friends with a celebrity, I'm gonna say Kevin Gates, and that's because he's an Aquarius and he was born on February 5th as well.
Okay.
And he says a lot of things that can be deemed controversial, but when you really sit back and listen to some of the things that he says, sometimes he makes a lot of sense. It may not be, what everybody else is. It may not be surface level, or it may not be the norm or the usual narrative, but
Mhm.
generally there's some thought behind what he actually says. So
Okay. So also, Kendall, if you could live in any decade or relive in any decade, which would it be and why?
it would definitely be the 80s and or the 90s, primarily because I ain't had these bills. Like baby,
Okay.
adulting be kicking my butt sometimes, and
Okay.
that I'll stick with that answer.
Okay. Because listen, we all around here adulting, trust me. Kamai, what is your favorite holiday aside from your birthday to celebrate?
I would say Christmas. I love to see people happy. I love to see people smiling. I love to make people happy and make people smile. Um, Christmas was always a joyous occasion as a child because, like I said, we had almost everything that we wanted, so we asked for it and we got it. And so now, as an adult, I like to return the energy of love to others. I don't often expect much. Even when I get gifts, I have gifts. If I show you gifts in my room from holidays, Christmas, Mother's Day, birthdays that I haven't even opened yet. I would much rather making someone else smile and seeing someone else happy opposed to it being done to me. Especially those who I feel like may have went without or have had less than because I feel like I've had my fair share of that, and I love the opportunity to make it happen for other people.
Kamaya, if you had one growing up, which what was your favorite cereal to eat?
My favorite cereal was Frosted Flakes
Okay. Okay. Did
with
you add
sugar.
sugar to them?
Yes, absolutely.
Kendall, we know that you are a health bit, but if you had a favorite candy bar, what would it be?
My favorite candy bar was Kit Kat.
Okay. But because you don't eat candy no more, you
I,
don't eat Kit Kat?
well, I don't do the dairy, so
Oh, okay. Well,
I
that's why you
take
have that
that.
that's
skin
outside.
and those abs and all of that. That makes sense. This question is for both of you. What is your passion in life?
Go ahead, King.
My passion in life, passion in life. Um, what am I most passionate about? What am I most passionate? Being the
Well, I
best
can go with
version
your
of
thing.
me. I think that would be my passion. My passion would be just being the best version of me and doing everything that I can to cultivate my best self.
Okay.
I.e., in therapy. I've been in therapy for a little while now, but I just got a new therapist, and I absolutely adore him. He's amazing. Y'all get y'all some therapy.
Yeah. What about you, Queen?
Um, so my passion is the same, to be the very best version of myself that I could be. That was always instilled in me as a child and even as an adult. When I decided to transition and I was having the conversation with my mom, the extremely tough emotional conversation, after the tears were shed, we pulled ourselves together and she told me, even though I don't understand, she said, I'll grow to understand I still love you. She said, I want you to be the best that you can be at what you're deciding to do. And so I still hold that near and dear to my heart. So it's definitely would be to be um, the best me that I can be in whatever I decide to do.
Okay. Both of you live in different areas. Kendall, you are in Harlem.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. I'm sorry, Brooklyn. I'm sorry, Brooklyn. And Kamai, you are in Jackson, but you seem to be everywhere. Are those are those forever homes? No.
Queen, you want to go first?
I didn't hear I didn't hear the end of it. It
I
kind of
asked
went out.
the current city you're in now, Jackson. Would you consider that your forever home, or would you
Oh
plan on?
no, I've been ready to go for about 3 years.
Okay. Okay.
I think that humbly speaking, I think I've outgrown Jackson for quite some time now. And in order for me to continue to excel and grow in my career, I need to get away. I'm bored here. I'm miserable here. I don't really have the drive to do much here, which is one of the reasons that I'm constantly on the go. And like I said, I've been ready to go for quite some time now, but my mom didn't want me to leave. So that has been what has kept me here. And then beyond that, all the things that I have been taxed with since she's gone on have also kept me here. But soon and very soon, I plan to get on down for sure.
Okay. And what about you, Kendall?
Okay. Well, I'm an air sign. I'm an Aquarius, so I can kind of go any way the wind blows at any given moment. Um, so I won't say that Brooklyn is my forever home, but I will say that Brooklyn is where I've always desired to be,
Oh, okay. So is it everything that you thought it would be?
and then some.
Okay. Gotcha. And Kamaya, do you have a specific place area that you would like to move to, or it's just up in the air right now?
She coming to Brooklyn too.
That maybe in time. I don't want to go that far away right now.
Right.
Um, I'm actually considering Atlanta.
Okay. 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 Do you mentioned because of your career, do you think that you would flourish more in Atlanta, or is it just because it's a safe space? I think a lot of times people, and I'm not saying this is your reasoning, but a lot of times move to Atlanta because it's a safe space.
Yeah.
It's one of those places where people can get comfortable. Do you feel that, or do you feel like you'll get there and become even more bigger than who you are when it comes to our industry?
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily the safety thing. However, that is definitely something to consider. Coming from Mississippi, the current political climate, and all of that, I definitely think that that's important. However, I know that I can continue to grow, evolve, and flourish being there. I don't think that'll be my forever home either, but I do think that there are some things that I could pick up there to take along with me to allow
Okay.
me to continue to be great.
Okay, perfect. So we have to be a little nosy here. I mean, it is what it is. Love life. Existent, non existent, dating, not dating. Because somebody's watching is want to know about both of you. How is that for you?
Um, Existent, however, I'm single,
Okay.
not dating anyone at the moment. Yeah.
Three things that you look for in a man, Kamaya.
Um, Consistency, honesty, and ambition.
Okay. Okay. Do you have a physical type?
Um, I actually do. However, it's weird. I'm a very, very complicated person, and there are different things that I appreciate from different people. and it's some things that I may like from this person, and it may turn me off from this person.
Okay.
So it just depends on the person. But I would say what I'm mostly attracted to is confidence. Be confident in whoever you are. That attracts me. Even if
Okay.
it's something that I may not appreciate, I'm going to respect the fact that you're confident about it. A lot of
Okay.
times people are trying to change up to fit the narrative of who they think that you want them to be
Hmm.
or what they think you're attracted to. And I find myself really attracted to people who are just confident
Okay.
in the authenticity of who they are.
Okay. And Kendall, same question: existent, non-existent, dating, wannabe dating.
I am categorically single. Um, uh, you won't get me. Like, no, I'm single. As far as dating is concerned, eventually I do desire to date, but for right now, I really do enjoy my own company. I have some amazing friends and loved ones that I spend my time with and that I receive companionship from. And all of the other stuff, it comes a dime a dozen, so that's nothing.
Do you have a type?
Do I have a type? Um, bad. No, I'm just saying. I gotta behave. Um, as far as my type, it's kind of back to what my queen said. I like different things from different people. Um, mainly, I like someone who's confident. I like someone who is self-aware and you know and is able to exhibit that from an internal basis as well as on the external. I like people who take care of themselves. If you looking a mess and looking like a bum, then you're probably not going to attract me.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. So if you all are watching, or if you all are watching the future, confidence is a big thing. They are both single. However, if they're if you're ready to mingle and they find you ambitious, attractive, confident, shoot your shot. It's not going to hurt you. They're very nice people. Well, Kendall.
I
Allegedly.
am.
It just all depends. It just really, really all depends. We're gonna play the game now. Name it and claim it. If you watch the show, both of you, you know how this goes. I'll give you a word, person, place, or thing, and you give us the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear that name, that person, or that place. I'll split it up because it is both two of you, so we'll do five apiece. I started with something easy. Kamaya, we'll start with you. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the makeup artist BJ, your child?
I knew she was going to be probably number one. um, BJ is my rock, my ride or die. I love her to death. Also, she's also one of my biggest headaches. But yeah, definitely keeps me together, keeps me on my toes, and loves me unconditionally, for
Right.
sure.
Okay. Kendall, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of the night you won Mr. Black America Newcomer?
First thing, I say family, because that became my family, and they've shielded and protected me through this entire experience of being in this art form. Without Black America, I would not be half the man I am. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Okay, good. Kamaya, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear a seafood boil?
Um, I want for my nose to run. I love seafood. Seafood is one of my favorite foods, and I love spicy foods in general, but I definitely love spicy seafood. So yeah, seafood is a good time for me for sure.
Okay, all right. Kendall, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of the state of Florida?
Hurricanes, the reason I left.
Damn. Okay.
You are so you.
Hurricane. All right. All right. Kamaya, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of the night you were crowned Miss North America?
Um, I felt like I had arrived in that moment. It was an opportunity for me to showcase my capabilities on a national level in a light that everybody was interested in. I think it was a huge platform and opportunity for exposure for me. And I had fought long and hard, and I felt like finally I've arrived.
Finally, you've arrived. Okay. Kendall, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear Mr. Magnifique?
I don't want to say the first thing that comes
No,
to my
you cannot cheat
mind.
us. You cannot cheat us the conversation.
Um, how do I say this?
You say it how you say everything else.
No, I've learned through therapy to choose your words wisely, to speak, to think
Come
before
on,
you,
Right, but you've been
to,
saying
therapy.
to
everything else
think
by
before
choosing it
you,
wisely.
to think before you speak. Um, I'll say it's another opportunity for me to really do what, again, like I talked about earlier. I live a life of service, and they are a platform or a community that really surrounds themselves in service. Like that is, it's a pageant with a
Okay.
purpose. So, uh, service.
Of service. All
There you
right.
go.
Well, we look forward to your service. Kamaya, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the Lady Marissa?
Oh my God, she's so mean. No, I'm just playing. Marissa is a jewel for sure. She's a sweetheart. She and I have a lot in common. She's very, very reserved and laid back and very, very business oriented. And it's so crazy because I have been, of course, in contact with her for going on a year now. And when she ring my line, I always still get nervous. And
Mm.
we haven't had any run-ins. There's not anything that she feel as though I did that I shouldn't have done, or any issues at all. But for whatever reason, it makes me nervous when she calls. I think it's because she's so business oriented, and you rarely see the fun side of her because she is about the business, baby.
It's so interesting that you said that because clearly, she's not my direct promoter. So one day, one night, she called me. It was like 9 o'clock at night, and I was like, "Oh my God, what have I done?" And I was like, "Why, Marissa?" And then when I picked up the phone, I said, "Madam," she said, "Miss Duval Plus." I said,
Hmm.
"Yes." She said, "I need you to do me a favor." And I'm like, "I know I ain't said that, I ain't posted that, but it was something different." But yeah, so
Yeah.
I get that too. Like, oh God, what have I done?
So I have to pull myself together sometime because she'll call and I'll be busy or something. I'm nervous. I said, girl, I got to call you, baby, because of this. It'll take 2 or 3 days for me to pull it together to
Yeah,
return her call. I don't know why, but the lady makes me really nervous. And I haven't told her this. It's her first time hearing it, but yeah, she make
yeah.
me nervous for some reason. But I
Um,
can talk to that Rick, honey, on and on
yeah.
and on.
Right. But Kendall, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear Rick Finn?
Wisdom, I would say definitely wisdom. He has a lot of wisdom, and he's definitely given me a lot of that wisdom throughout this year. I know a lot of people are like, you just everywhere competing in everything. Like, why you just hopping from pageant to pageant? Because my promoter told me to go get it all. He told me to do everything, and like it really took away a lot of my fears from being on stage, because again, like I hadn't been competing that long again since I started back, but it really helped to boost my confidence and to help me get some of the kinks out. Like I would always say, when I would go to a competition, whether when wasn't successful, I would call it rehearsal. It was one of those things where, it was another opportunity for me to get on stage to figure some things out for me when I go somewhere else or whatever. And he's the person who really pushed me to do that.
Okay. All right. So, Kamaya, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear Kendall Keontae Bonet?
Um, That's my man. That's my king. That's my husband. We share a very unique bond, and I've had a good relationship with all the kings that I reign with. I think maybe it was the passion and drive that we had for winning the Duval title that allowed us to really, really connect um, in a different place. But yeah, that's my hero
My man, my man,
for
my man.
sure.
Okay.
Period.
And same question for you, Kendall. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear Kamaya L'Oreal time?
That's Bay. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what else to say. I told you I like bad bitches. Like, you know. And she is, you know, she definitely is the personification of a queen.
Right.
Like she's held me up when I fell down. She's, you know, lifted my spirits, and like she's literally been a ride or die for me, through the good, the bad, the ugly. Like I can literally talk to her about pretty much anything, and yeah,
Are you?
I'm done.
Oh, okay. I have a bonus.
So to the Duval lingo, he's definitely been the perfect earring to this beautiful game.
Ah! Yes, ma'am, earring. Rick would love that. Somebody doesn't like that, but Rick loves that. Somebody doesn't like being the earring, but it is what it is. I have a bonus one. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of your beautiful current plus queen? Go ahead. Go ahead. It's okay. Tell them how you feel. Kamaya.
A crease in the eye, a crease, eye makeup.
Okay, y'all. So real quick, the crease in the eye. I think it was Mr. Duval Newcomer, or the Closet Ball or something. I had did my makeup. And I have a big makeup kit. I had did my makeup.
Huge makeup kid.
I have a
No,
big
start
makeup kit.
back. You did your makeup for registration. Start there. Or should I tell the
And
story?
tell the story. Go ahead.
So we stayed together in the Airbnb and we got up to get ready and she said, "Well, Queen, are you gonna do your makeup here or are you gonna do it there?" Or I think she was I gonna do my makeup, I guess, for the night because we had a
Yeah.
long day. Now, are you gonna do it later? And I was like, girl, I'm probably gonna just do it, put a little 1-2 on, and then I'll go back in later when it get close to time for the pageant because we wasn't going back to the Airbnb. She said, okay, well, I think I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put a little bit on too. So she put her little fish face on for registration or whatever. I'm like, okay, so we go to registration. We taking selfies and videos and stuff in the car. Cool. So we get to the pageant and she get ready for I saw her with a makeup kit out and putting on translucent powder and stuff. And when she got ready for the stage, I said, girl, that's all you did? To myself. So we went on and so when we got ready to leave, I noticed that she had this fairly large makeup box. And I said, girl, you got all this makeup and this all the makeup you wear? And I said, well, Queen, you are a pretty lady. You do look nice. I said, but I do want you to at least put a crease in your eye for the stage or whatever, because she had the same face to me that she had on for registration. And I said, by the end of our reign, I want you to have put your own crease in your eye. And then sooner than later, I saw her in a picture and I saw this lovely black crease. And I said, okay, so she listened. And before the end of our reign, she's doing a crease in her eye.
Well, y'all, she did not say it that nice. She said, "I know you ain't got all this makeup case and ain't got no put no crease in your eye." I was like, girl. She said, I'm gonna post this on Facebook that you got all this makeup and ain't got." I said, "Because I don't know how to do a crease," and then she told me what the crease was and how I have a natural crease. So I did come home and start planning in it, and so I kind of yes, I do listen.
Hmm.
So that's that. I will definitely have a crease in my eye this all weekend long. I mean, I'm not doing it, but I will have a crease in my eye. Kendall, same question to you. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of your so beautiful plus queen who knows how to do a crease
Opinionated.
now? I like you.
I would say that I think, no, I'm gonna give some,
Mhm.
context to it. I do believe that Trinity and I are cut from the same cloth, and we have histories of putting our foot in our mouth. Now we stand 10 toes down on what we say. Don't be look. it is what it is. But I think that both of us are navigating, uh, learning how to, as I always say, Shelby, you always talk about pick and choose your battles. But I think that that's the biggest thing. You're opinionated, Queen, and there's nothing wrong with that. But again, like we were talking about earlier about us giving our energy to people who don't deserve it. Sometimes like it's better just to scroll on
I have been
than
doing
to
very good because last week I could have just been
you have.
but I did not. So we're gonna move on. This weekend you all are relinquishing your title, and that's one of the reasons why you're here is to talk about that. I know that it's going to be a bittersweet moment. I know that it is going to be packed because I know so many people that are coming, and so many people that are honored to honor you all. First question: why Duval? What made you all decide to come to Duval or come back to Duval?
I decided on Duval because like I said, I am passionate about being the best that I can be, and I feel as though the formers of Duval were some of the best in the industry. Everybody who is somebody have went through Duval, and that beautiful banner is such an amazing thing to have your name on the banner. And so I told myself when I first began to have experience and find out about Duval that I wanted to be a part of that. I mean, if you look at the names, it's just royalty. And so I knew that I wanted to be a part of that legacy, and so that's the reason that I decided to compete for Duval.
Now you won your first year, or had you done it before?
No, I done it before. I done it in 2018, I think, when Brittany Moore won.
Okay.
And my mom actually came with me to compete that year, and was the reason that I didn't do as well. I think I had the bell cart packing my stuff to go to the pageant. BJ had just finished my makeup, and my mama was moving the cart, and I think the talent dress may have been hanging in the sprinkler or something or another. Anyway, she set the sprinkler system off. When she moved the cart, the dress was caught in the wheel.
Oh.
She got
It's Can you guys hear me?
yeah.
And it set off the sprinkler system, so the whole second floor in the hotel flooded. All of my drag was soaking wet, and it's like literally we were rushing to pack to make it to the venue for check-in time. So I was furious and panicking. The gospel dress was ruined, and so I got there trying to find hair, trying to find a talent dress, and of course my mind was all over the place. So I wasn't successful, of course, that year. And a few years passed, and I felt like I had what it takes. So I said, let's go try it again.
Okay. And King, what about you? Why Duval?
For me, it was I think geographics had a lot to do with it. I'm from the Jacksonville area. While I was not born in Duval County, I was born in Putnam County, which is Duval adjacent. It's like literally right up the street. So when I came into the fold of pageantry, Duval was one of the systems that we frequented, that we would always go and patronize. So like I'm like 2003, 2004, going to Duval. And so I always wanted to be a part of it once I stepped up. And I competed 2008, I think it was, and 2009. And then finally won on my third attempt.
Okay. So let's dig a little deeper. Last year, that Sunday night, you're competing. Did you think, because we all sit back and look what's going around. I hate when people say, I wasn't paying attention. Okay, whatever. We all sit back and look what's going around. We all sit back and hear things whether our friends or helpers come tell us, da da da. Before you were actually called out as the winner, did you feel you had won?
Go ahead, King.
Okay, well, let me go back just a little bit further. Before I was called out as the winner. Rick announced that there was a 1 point differential or whatever. So when he said that, I was like, they done pulled it for Isaiah. Because prior to that, I just knew that I had won after question because I sat out there, like I mean, I answered the question, but then after that or whatever, everybody was like, you answered it. You was the only one who answered all four parts of the question. Da, 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 da. And I knew that there was the whole thing where it was supposed, like, if you didn't answer the other half of the question, you was only supposed to get like a 5 or something. So in my head, I was like light years ahead of everybody else because I knew that everybody else was gonna get that 5 point deduction. So for me, it was just like, okay, yeah, baby, I don't want this pageant. Finally, I'm finna win Duval. But then when Rick said that, it was just like, I don't know. I just felt the life leave my body. And you could, if you look at the DVD, you see my physical reaction. And that's why when he called my name, or when he called Isaiah as the first runner up, you got the response that you got from him.
Okay. What about you, Queen?
So before my name was called, I wasn't sure that I had won. I thought that I had been well enough in the competition to win. However, I always like to say that I hope for the best and expect the worst. And I have been in that situation a few times in my career with the name or the larger name, and it didn't work in my favor. So I was hopeful, of course, but I really didn't. I didn't know. People in my camp had told me some of the flaws that my opponent had, and made me feel as though I guess I should have been better than them in some of the categories. And when the category was called out and my opponent won the category, I was like, well, girl, maybe, it's not going in my favor. So
Right.
I was extremely shocked as well. I think the first night wasn't a great night for me in the competition. Looking back, I could have did a lot of things different and been a lot better on the first night, but I definitely think on the second night I did what needed to have been done, and it was just enough to slide me through.
hmm this question is for both of you. What is one thing that you two would have changed about your reign? It could be good or bad. What is one thing that you maybe think you would have done differently or not done at all, if anything?
Um, well, if I have to say something that I would have done differently, and I don't have any regrets, I think I juggled everything pretty well. However, it was extremely exhausting reigning for 4 titles at once. I think that I gave each title the representation that um, I know I gave what they required, but I think that I could have given more had I been exclusive to one title. And it was extremely exhausting the entire year. Sometimes I feel as though I neglected maybe this title because I selected to represent another title on this night. And I think that I had some pretty good titles to where I would have felt accomplished had I just been representing one.
Mhm. Okay. What about you, Kendall? Did he freeze? He froze. Somebody calling him. Oh,
Me, oh, um, I'm thinking back to what we were talking about the earring and the dress. I think that at the beginning of the ring, I was kind of holding back, primarily because I didn't want to be the king to like overstep or to do too much, because I know how important it is to the Duval brand to be, said the accessory to your queen. And truthfully, that was a little different for me. I think that it worked out the way that it was supposed to because again, I have a queen who is the baddest on the rack. So if I'm gonna be an earring, then I'm gonna be a bad piece of jewelry. So I think that would be the thing that I would change. Me just trying to get more insight as to what that looked like. And it wasn't until like maybe a few months into the reign that Rick and I actually had that conversation. He was like, "No, King, we not," because what they did was he contacted me. He was like, "Now Marissa probably ain't gonna say nothing, but King, where your promos? You the promo king. You know what I'm saying? You do promos. Where your promos?" And I was like, "I done released a few promos, or whatever." But again, I wasn't trying to like just because we were trying to be a united front. We wanted to make sure that we were cohesive and a collective, as opposed to her having a reign and me having a reign. And we definitely wanted to stick to that, being complimentary. So yeah, that's what I would probably change. Just me getting more clarity on what my role as a king should look like as a Mr. Duval. But I think I got that down packed now.
Potential contestants that are on the live now and or will watch this live before Saturday, what is one piece of advice that you would give them about competing this weekend that they should know, not know, understand, take heed to?
I would say bring your best things and present the best you, because that's what it's about. Opposed to worrying about the competition, who's competing, what they're going to bring. Be the best version of yourself. You want to work to try to get the 10 on the sheet for yourself, and all they can do is tie with you, if that. When I competed, I tried something new and for one of the categories, and it didn't really work in my favor. And I was always told, Duval's 1 through 10, bring your best. And people even told me, girl, you had this at home, and you should have brought that. So I'm definitely gonna say, bring the best of what you have and be the best version of yourself.
I'm gonna say do what you know works. At Duval, you don't get bonus points. Like my queen just said, it's 1 through 10. You can get up there and now I know trust, we want it to be a pageant, so we want you to bring your juice. You know what I'm saying? But your juice has to be right. You can get up and be scored. Well, I'll say it this way: we've seen JD Martin's tie with you know the queens that make their own gowns at the house. You know what I'm saying? Because it was right. You know what I'm saying? If there's nothing for them to get it for, then they're gonna score you accordingly. They're not gonna give you a bonus point because it's a JD Martin. They're not gonna give you bonus points because you have 30 people on the stage. The goal at Duval is not to lose points. That's that's the best advice I can give you. Just try to be clean as you can be, but you still want to present yourself as that confident being and having that je ne sais quoi, so to speak. And I think that's what kind of helped Kamaya and I to stand out during last year.
And if I could answer that question for any contestant watching, I will watch. Land the plane. I think that people fail to realize that question and answer is a category. And you can be beautiful for presentation, air out sportswear, be great for talent, and be beautiful and or handsome for sportswear and gown, but you still have to land the plane. And we know that in Duval history, that category shakes up a lot of things. If I'm not mistaken, it was one of the things that helped Kendall. It definitely was something that helped me. So remember to listen to the question. If it takes you a minute, because they're not going to start judging you until you start talking. If you have to take a minute to understand and to get your thoughts together, do that and then answer it. If it is a 2, 3, 4, 5 part question, it is okay to grab that paper and have it in your hand so that you go down the road. I did it. You can do that. We're not taking out points for that because it is what it is. But make sure you hit all of those 3 points, because if you fail to do that, you're going to miss points. But land that plane in the end. That is important. That category is very important. King, Wendell, do you have anything in far as the Duval segment?
Well, kind of, sort of, for Kendall. So do you like, you did, your first time was 2008? Did you say 2008?
Yes.
What did you do for talent?
I'm. What did I do for talent? I'm sure I probably either sang or danced.
So,
I don't remember.
so my question is, do you think that singing live is more welcoming now for guys in 2025 than it was when you first started?
Singing
Not that
live.
I'm a singer. It's not that I'm a singer, but I'm just asking.
I think that people are becoming more understanding of how to judge a live talent. One of the reasons that I stayed away from singing live was because I would get docked for things that I had no control over. If the music starts playing and the DJ has the music extremely too loud, especially if I've done a sound check, which I always do, it's the responsibility of that person who is the sound technician to save the settings from the sound check to make sure that when you get back on that stage, your mic is set the exact same way so that you don't have those issues. Issues of feedback. Oh, well, the feedback was distracting, stuff like that. Like, so I kind of just pushed back from doing live talents. And I did a lot of the lip sync, and I fell into that for a long time. I really didn't start singing live seriously again for talent until I came back into the fold.
Okay. And Kamaya, I have a question for you also as far as Duval. Do you find that people from when I for where I'm standing when it comes to you, a lot of people have a lot of expectations on you. Does that pressure sometimes like at Duval, do you think that got to you as far as your preparation? Like maybe that's why you brought what you brought was because of some of that stress and pressure?
Absolutely. But it works out for the best because it keeps you on your toes and it makes you be sure that you are presenting, your best or whatever. But it definitely gets to your mental and it could be overwhelming at times, but I think that overall it's for the best.
And Trinity, I have a question for you about Duval also. So you said, and you said to me before, but you said it on this, that question and answer kind of like shifted everything for you. When you went into question and answer, were you thinking about that? Were you thinking about this is my final chance, or was it that you just naturally did what you do for question and answer?
No, I didn't. I went into question and answer not thinking I was winning, so and I wasn't. But I knew that if the question was written correctly and asked correctly, I could answer it. And that's what happened. It was a three-part question, and it caused us to end up tying. And then there was a second question that was a two-part question. And so, of course, we know
Wait,
the
so
result.
you answered two different
Hmm.
questions? Oh
Yeah, so
wow, I
going
never knew
into the
that.
question, my first runner-up was winning by 9. So when the question was asked, it was a three-part question. I end up catching up with her.
Wait,
Well, I
wait.
had a perfect scoring question, and
So
so
she
that
was winning by 9 going into the first question,
yeah,
and
she
y'all
was winning.
tied at and what the question is 1 through 10.
Yeah, 1 through 10 point per flaw.
So Mama
Drop the
got like a
Heisman.
1 or a 2 for
So at
that
least
first
2 points
question,
per.
and then
Yeah.
she has to answer another question to break the tie.
So we had to answer another question that was
Oh,
a two-part question to break the tie. And so, of course, we know the results from that. So that's why it's very important that people, because of course, from that, people aren't thinking that question is important because this person is airing the pageant before question, and we have to remember that that is a category that is important. And so that was the big, and I think that now that young lady understands that it
yeah.
was important because of results in other contests that she may have done. She realizes, okay, I see now.
Yeah, but a
Um,
shout out to Duval because most pageants they break ties with talent. So I give them a huge point for using question and answer to break a tie because that's
well,
normally the go-to is
oh,
talent.
and then what's so interesting about what you just said? That was the question. What if there is another tie? How would you break it? I said presentation because Duval is known for the different presentations, colors, things, or whatever. And I think that it's important because it shows that you can be creative in that category. So whoever has the highest presentation. Well, that was my question. So it's interesting that you said that. But yeah, we have to do another question. So that's why it's important to it. Are you still competing this weekend, Wendell? Are you competing this weekend for Duval?
I, this is not my interview.
Oh, okay. So I guess that's a no. So speaking of contestants, are you excited about the numbers that you all have coming? are the people that you have coming. Because, baby, it's going to be a battle. Tell us about that.
I'm thrilled about that. It makes me feel really, really good, accomplished, of course. It makes me feel like people appreciate, what I brought to the rain. I don't think that it's only on the representatives to recruit or engage contestants. And Duval sells itself, but I do. It
Right.
does make me feel like that I did fairly well with the title to know that the entrance is as high as it is. I'm excited for the names as well as the numbers. I think it's going to be an exceptional year for Duval this year.
Kendall?
I think that the caliber of guys that are coming this year makes me more excited that I already won because it is about to be a bloodbath. Um, yeah, but I'm definitely excited about what's going to be presented on this weekend. I know that a lot of these guys have worked extremely hard. We do have uh, you know, some. We got some seasoned folk that are competing. We got some people who haven't competed in a while. We got some people who may not have ever really competed on this level that are coming. So I think we're gonna be in for an experience.
I think that it's the perfect balance of quality and quantity because
Mhm.
being a little messy here. No names, but do you have a particular person that you would like to crown this weekend? You don't have to say their name, but do you? Just yes or no.
Yes. Who
No, I
wins on
don't.
those score sheets?
Yeah, I don't have. I don't. I don't.
I love
Um,
those. I love those
yeah.
political answers.
No, I'm
Um,
serious. I'm really, really, really serious. I don't. I know the winner's gonna win, and I'm happy for the winner that wins. Yeah, I don't have a favorite that I would like to crown.
okay, all right, cool. So shouts out to the two individuals that got the entry fee from me. I won't say their names because they haven't given me permission to, but glad that you two are coming for the Mr. and Miss. Opening a tribute to Ashford and Simpson. Tell us how that came about.
Okay, well, you wanna start, Queen, or you want me
Go
to?
ahead.
I can see that so easy. I
Okay,
can see
so
that.
I have been looking for a Valerie Simpson for quite a while now. Someone who I meshed well with and who I had that chemistry with to do it. And initially, I was going to do an Ashton and Simpson talent at Black Universe, and Kennedy Davenport was going to be my Valerie Simpson. But when we start thinking about openings and things like that, my queen was just like, King, that's all you. Like, she was just kind of like straight up and let me know, like, that's not really her wheelhouse in terms of like putting together full open, even though she put together the opening for the first night. So,
Mm-hmm.
kudos to you for doing that. Like, and I think it's going to be amazing as well. But it's something that people have always kind of put me to do, and I just never had the right timing or the right relationships to be able to pull something like that off. And when Kamaya kind of pushed it on me to, King, I'm gonna let you handle that or whatever. I was like, you know what, this will be a perfect opportunity to do that. And then one of the reasons I thought it would be quite befitting for Duval is because of the longevity of the system. You have, individuals who are quite seasoned, and then you have a lot of these young babies, what I'm saying, who are coming into the fold of Duval, who, what I'm saying, they may recognize some of the songs, but, everything now is a sample or a remake or interpolation or a remix of. So I feel like it would be a good way to kind of bridge the gap between the younger and the older generations at Duval, and actually showcase and place emphasis on what I consider to be Black excellence. Ashford and Simpson, they are a dynamic duo that has written and produced for multiple artists, and I've always felt like they don't really get their just due. I've had the privilege of meeting Miss Valerie Simpson, and I sang for her at one of her birthday parties.
Mm.
Um, that was an entire experience in and of itself. So since that, I've always just been fascinated with them, and that's kind of how it came about because I was like, you look like somebody. Do you know who Nick Ashford is? You ever heard of Ashford and Simpson? Oh, that look like that could be your daddy. So I come from a lineage of, entertainers who do characters. Nicole Love Dupree is my mama, you know. So, you know, I wanted that to be one of my characters, and I felt like this was the perfect opportunity to do it because I have someone who has that chemistry with me, and we can make it happen.
Gotcha. And Kamaya is going to give her elude, and you got all of us giving characters. Y'all, they got me playing Shaka
Hmm.
Khan. I don't know how that's
Let's
gonna
see
come
it.
out.
Let's see it.
All I know is she do this, and this we'll see. That's all I know. And the hair is burgundy, so I don't know how it's gonna come out, but it is what it is. Um,
I think it's going to challenge all of us, though.
yeah, because I'm literally in here just
Yeah.
like Shaka. Okay, but I've been Diana Ross as Duval. I've been Shirley Ralph as Duval. Now I'm Shaka Khan. I'm like, what is going on? But so I'm excited about that. And then of course we know the Saturday opening is a family reunion. So make sure you are there. This is important, y'all. It is a 2 night pageant, but it's not a Mister on one night, Miss on the other night. You have to come to both in order to see the full pageant. If you miss one night, you're going to miss the pageant, half the pageant. You don't want to do that. Kendall and Kamai have done a great job, not just with the openings, but just as the year. So come out and support them. Bring your dollars for the Duval Court and the formers. Speaking of formers, Kamaya, of all of the names on that banner, give me one name that you immediately think of when you think of Duval.
Giselle Bobby Royale.
Okay. And Kendall, all the
Alphonse,
names on the male banner, who's the first one that comes to your mind?
my big Brody, Alphonse Dupree.
Okay. Alphonse and Giselle, and hopefully they both will be returning this year. Do y'all happen to know who's judging? That was a question in my inbox.
It's usually the same judges, but I don't. Duval is pretty
So
consistent on their judges.
Duval typically has the same judges for each division. However, things happen. People can't come, this and another. So we don't really know, but we'll know Saturday. So it was a contestant. So we'll know Saturday. Let's talk about drag for a little bit. Both of you have been in the game a long time, 15 years, 20 plus years. Um, what is changing? Why are the numbers low from you all's perspective? That's a question we ask everyone that comes on that competes. Why do you feel the numbers are low? Because when you both started, they were high.
Um, Let me try not to get myself in any trouble. I think that the numbers are low. I think that when the numbers were much higher, I think that um, we dropped the ball with attempting to maintain that. I think that we will win certain titles and we would put ourselves on this pedestal, or the community would put us on a pedestal, and we started to look down on others and not see each other as equal. I think that sometimes you started to see like a Mean Girls sorority or organization, and I think that in that we missed the opportunity to really engage, to continue to pour into the new generation, encourage them to aspire to be a part of this amazing organization that had been created. And I think over the time the interests have just diminished because I think that um, a lot of common folk felt as though they wasn't good enough, or they were made to feel like they wasn't good enough. They wasn't soft enough. They wasn't pretty enough. They wasn't a part of the right cliques, and because of that, I think that people's interest has went elsewhere, and pageantry
Okay.
just I guess on the black national level has started to decline as a result. In addition to that, of course, a lot of people have been mistreated or not treated fairly, and then the economy plays a huge part. back when the numbers were amazing, um, resources were greater. You know, people were doing the stunt game. It was easy to obtain all of this glamorous, beautiful stuff. But now that that has kind of diminished and people are using their hard-earned money, people are reluctant to gambling with it as easy as they were when it was so much easier to come by.
Mm-hmm. Kendall.
I think my queen just summed it up. She said everything that I was gonna say.
Okay. How do we change that? How do we get numbers back up? How do you feel we should get numbers back
I
Go
think
ahead.
that I think one of the ways that we can get numbers back up is by allowing our prize packages to reflect the changes in the economy. A lot of the times, we spend way more in one category than we win, you know, on that night. Now, if you're a person who, understands that, you're gonna, receive a little cloud, or, you get the prestige of being this title, and, some of the social perks that go along with those titles, then it may be, something that you're more inclined to do. But I really feel like a lot of people are, just a little more leery, like she said, about just spending money on, what they may consider frivolous things, as opposed to, spending, I'll say it this way: people are finding better things to invest their money in that are actually bringing them returns on their investment. And until we address that issue in pageantry, I think that the numbers are going to continue to stay low. Because again, like, when you look at it from a business perspective, um, what do you gain?
up? Mm-hmm.
I have a
Okay.
question. I have a question for Ken. So, like about what you were saying, I'll use Queen and King as an example, and EOY. I'll use those two as examples. There are some pageants that actually give a much greater amount, but not they're not necessarily the more popular ones. So, what do you say of as far as promoters or pageants giving away money when those pageants give away the money and they can't seem to get the same caliber or the same number of contestants as the ones that we say are not giving away enough money, but yet that's what everybody wants. So how do you shift to those pageants?
I think it comes down to the market and branding of that pageant. I think that first and foremost, you have to prove yourself as a pageant. Um, before you can really get some of those caliber contestants. Because a lot of times when pageantry systems are in their infancies, that's when a lot of the mistakes happen, or you experience the growing pains. And a lot of the more seasoned entertainers, in my experience, don't necessarily want to be a part of those growing pains. They just want to be able to show up and be the queen. And as Trinity has often
Mhm.
said, like, she did Duval because she was ready to, compete in something where she could just be the queen and not have to do, what I'm saying, all of the rebranding or rebuilding work for that particular system. When you're a new system, even if you aren't doing damage control or rebuilding, you're still having to build. So that can be a bit of a challenge for a person who may not have those experiences, or may not be business savvy, or have the marketing capabilities or skills that some of us may have. So um, I don't frown on people when they don't go and compete, for a system because it's giving away $10,000 or is new. Now EOI, they they have the longevity as well,
Mhm.
but I can't speak for everybody else, but I've personally seen um, loved ones, friends, family of mine go over there, and I'm looking like, yeah, y'all really just blatantly cheated. So, there has to be some accountability from these systems as well when they do give that particular money, or when you do, when they are giving away that type of money, there has to be some accountability for the outcomes of the pageants from those particular years as well. So,
Mhm.
you know,
Um,
So I wanna say something
Go
to
ahead.
that. I think that I think it's a great question, and I think that there are things that can be done on both ends of the spectrum for the organization to flourish. The systems that give away that large sum, like you said, that may not get the numbers that they have. I think the reason that they may not get the numbers is that um, they came out the gate running, and people automatically assume because of the history of our pageants that the names are going to win. And so a lot of people are reluctant to pursuing those endeavors because they feel like they got to get these people out the way. They got to get the stars or the legends out of the way, and oftentimes that has proven itself to be true. And so I think for that reason, people are afraid of giving away $10,000. We know that one or two or three of the names are going to go there. So let me not go. Let me wait a couple years to see. And so I think that what those systems could do to prove themselves is make sure that they're transparent and that they are fair. And when the community realizes that they don't care who win, that they're not featuring or favoring big names, and that anybody can win, then I think that people will be more so willing to invest and compete in those systems. On the flip side, the systems who may not give away as much. I think that we have to find a way to make the dollar bill make sense. And I say that to say that I feel like as a contestant, oftentimes we eat a lot of the inflation cost of competing in the pageants. We have to pay for our dresser. We sharing dance, we have to pay for the dancers five and six and seven or eight times. And that's insane because it's already costing us, this many thousand to get here to compete. And I understand that the cost to put on a pageant has inflated also. But I think that we have to find a way to navigate that so that the contestant doesn't necessarily eat a lot of their costs. And going back to when things were different back in the day, a lot of people used to stunt to put on these pageants. And now that's no longer happening. So it's people spending their hard-earned money to make this happen. And so the cost, have to satisfy itself at some point. So I think that, we have to explore other options, whether it be grant money, nonprofit funding, or fundraising, or what have you, to make it make sense. Because oftentimes, like King said, it doesn't make sense at all. And I understand that you'll never get what you put into it, but you want to get something worth your
Mm.
while.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate Kamaya what you said in it though, as far as the promoter, because I think that a lot of times people often forget that promoters are also dealing with the grunt of inflation. And so you want a promoter to put on this fab production and they want to have fab entertainers and God forbid they have formers. They all want to get paid. Now judges want to get paid lovely, right? And so everybody who's getting paid, then you have to bring somebody in from out of town to judge because you don't want just people in the city judges. So now you got to pay for their hotel and travel. So I think that people often forget that promoters are actually taking a big loss also. So I think that both of you and Trinity, all three to me, have an easier path because all three of y'all have mastered solo talents that can work for you. I think that is also the beauty of if you have a winning gown, you can work that gown until you're tired of working that gown. Or if you have a winning sportswear, you can work that sportswear until you're tired of working it. But unfortunately, when you're a promoter, and of course it's more personal to me now because I'm a promoter, on the promoter side, you don't get to do that. You don't get to flip it. You have to keep redoing it, and it gets really ridiculous. My prelim to Mr. and Miss Texas alone, this I did it for 3 years now, and that's a $7,000 budget for a preliminary. And that's just a preliminary to a pageant. And so I don't think people often think about promoters that are really taking, like really just doing it for one year. I didn't even charge entry fee. I was like, child, it don't matter because it's not gonna, it's not, it ain't helping me, So it's like I just think that it's a give and take. So I think that it's very fair what you said, as far as everybody has to kind of work together to figure out a way.
But
Yeah.
also
And
too,
then
go
I just
ahead.
like to add one thing to that. I think like one of the areas of service that I want to operate in as Magnifique is to start to really, really push how we can mitigate some of the expenses through business organization. And when I say that, like when you establish yourself as a business, certain expenses that you incur, you're able to write off on your taxes. And that's something that I have not seen in the pageant realm at all, in terms of us offering some type of seminars or some type of teachings or tutelage just to give insight as to how we can make it less expensive, not just for the promoters, but
Hmm.
for the representatives or those contestants who are competing. If you have a brand and you are, you know, you organize yourself as an LLC or you incorporate, then you get certain tax benefits,
Hmm.
and I think that if we start to utilize some of those tools more, as opposed to this being something that's underground or like under the table cash
Hmm.
type thing, I think that we'll start to see that things aren't as expensive, or we can actually receive more resources. You can have access to wholesale accounts to get some of the things that you may need to produce on stage. So I think
It's
that may be
financial
a way.
literacy. It all goes back to financial literacy. So I
Right.
do agree, but of course, if you are a hustler and you're putting it on through hustle means, you can't file that on your taxes, right? But then
Right.
the other part is, even if I file it, if you file everything on your taxes, you're opening up Pandora's box, because then at that point you have to start
Hey,
taking taxes out of the entertainers. You have to take taxes out of that, because if you're gonna try and get a write-off off of all of it, then you have to show how you pay taxes off all of it. So it's just, that's all goes into financial literacy though.
yep.
22 years ago, Kendall, and 15 years ago, Kamaya, uh, we didn't notice, or we didn't have all of these pageants that are around now. Do you think we have too many pageants today, or do you think it's good for a different variety? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's good to have a different variety. I think that it's kind of safe to say that there is a place for everybody, every kind of entertainer, every kind of a person. Maybe Black America may not be your fit, but you may fit in over here. You may mesh better over here, and so I think that it's good to have a variety so that everybody could have somewhere that they feel as though they are welcome and comfortable with partaking.
What about you, Kendall? What's your take on that?
Repeat the question one more time for me,
I was
please.
saying specifically for you, 20 plus years ago, we didn't have all of these systems, all of these different pageants. Everyone wants to be national. Do you think, in your eye, do you think that hinders, or is it helpful?
I think it's helpful because it offers for a more inclusive industry. Every like my queen just said, every pageant isn't for everybody. Every pageant isn't everyone's forte. Like some pageants they like the guys who maybe a little more feminine and like to wear the heels and do all the the androgynous type things. That's not necessarily my swag. I want a pageant where I can go and be you know a masculine presenting man, because I feel like that's what works for me. That's not to, knock anything that anyone else does. But when you have so many variations of pageants, none of them are the same. Some of them allow cisgender and trans to compete in the same, division, whereas others are, if you have augmentation or if you have any type of anything, then you can't compete here. Again, it offers us a space for inclusion, and so I'm never opposed to that.
Can I
Okay.
pose the same question just a little different? Do you think the title national pageant has been saturated and misused, and maybe has messed up the idea or the fantasy of a national pageant? Like, do you think that because there's so many national pageants, it's kind of like took some of the value of the title national away?
Yes, I do believe that. I believe that that there's levels to everything, and I think that um, the level of not being national is just as important as being national. And I think that now that everybody has the opportunity to be considered national, definitely does kind of take away, I guess, the standard of what national actually is or
Mhm.
should be. Because I mean, who knows what it is now?
Right. I was this weekend we were at the prelim, just a little context. And the prelim is now moving from the prelim to a national system. And I said to myself, this was the perfect opportunity to have this prelim who was very successful to be like the Miss Texas to the USA. And so I look at stuff like that. I do think there's a lot of
The
pageants.
prelim you were at this weekend?
The prelim that I was at this weekend is moving from the prelim to now becoming a national system that will be in December. Um, and I just thought that that was a missed opportunity to be a successful prelim under the universe realm or umbrella because he was very successful. And I think that now you're going into a national market and you're competing with all of the others and it just it's just so saturated. I get that the different variety because everybody's not going to be or want to be a Miss Continental. Everybody's not going to be or want to be a Miss Black Universe or Miss Black America. However, it's just so many now that it's like, oh gosh. And now you have to, like we was talking about earlier, now we got to climb. And like Kamaya said, you may not get no contest in these first 5 years because now people are concerned if you're going, how are you going to navigate that space of introducing yourself to this industry and competing now you have to show that you're different. So I think that that's something that's interesting. But back to what I want to touch on, something that Kendall mentioned, masculinity presenting. We ask every male lead that comes on here, how do you feel about that? We're in this war where I'm gay, so I should be able to be whoever I want to be. You are someone that presents yourself on all times as masculine. How do you feel about that where we are harboring on he's not masculine enough, or we should allow him to be as gay as he wants to be when he's competing? If Kamaya and I have to come out and be soft and dainty, what do you feel the males should have to be?
I honestly feel the same way that you feel. That if their level of femininity, then in the opposite perspective, we should be judged the same. But that goes back to what I said about these different systems offering a space for inclusion. It goes back to you knowing where you're going. Some systems do allow for that. Some systems don't mind you being, however, but yeah, I personally gravitate towards the masculine presenting. That's what I like to see from male entertainers. But I know that there are systems now that do, provide a space for any and everyone to compete. And I never want to shun someone for being who they authentically are.
Kendall, real quick, your camera is out. We can't see you. We can hear you, but we can't.
Now I can't hear y'all.
It's a black screen.
What is going on?
Let me remove him and then. So yeah, I get that. Kamaya, how do you feel about that? Do you have a take on that?
I mean, I'm gonna relate it back to the question if I feel as though there are too many pageants. I think that this is the reason that it's important that we have as many pageants as we do, so that those people who may not necessarily align with the masculine presenting persona will still have a place that that they could compete or feel welcome and accepted as well. So yeah, I think that ultimately what's most important is that there's a place for everybody.
Gotcha. Appreciate that from you. This question is going to be for both of you. I don't think that we would necessarily consider you all icons just yet, but that's definitely something that will come on in the future. But who are your icons? Who are the ones that you looked up to that keeps you going and that you admire?
One for me would be
I can't hear y'all. I don't know what's going on.
We can hear
can you
you.
guys hear? Okay.
Go ahead, Kamaya.
Okay, I can't hear y'all right now. It's storming here, so I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi that's going in and out. I just tried to turn it off and use my cell phone signal, but I think it's something going on with the weather.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to go out again and come back in.
Okay.
Love
Go
you,
ahead,
bye.
Kamaya.
So
Well,
what was it again? Icons that
who are you consider your icons?
okay. So one for me would be Raquel Lord. And I say that because even before I had a conversation with her, or I'm sure well before she knew who I was, I watched her. I
Mhm.
studied her success, and she showed me what it looks like to be great, to be an effective competitor, to be consistent.
Mhm.
And she is to me a close definition to perfection as it
Mhm.
pertains to the art form. And she's been consistent in that since I have started to follow her.
Okay. Okay. And we ask this question to everyone that comes on the show, whether they are considered icon legend or not. Who are some up and coming girls that you would consider will have longevity, that you can see having longevity in this community? Give me three if you can name three.
Three, okay. I think that British J. Fox, Mariah the Goat, and she's a little rough around the edges and definitely some things to brush up on, but who doesn't have that? But I think that Journey
Mhm.
Davenport is going to be really, really great. She's passionate and invests a whole lot as a newcomer into where she presents. So I think that she had the potential to go far as well.
Okay. Those are actually some good girls. Can
Good.
you hear me now,
I
Kendall?
can hear you now.
Okay. So I'm gonna pose the same question that we just asked your queen. The
Okay.
first one is give me one or two of the icons that you look up to in the male lead.
One or two what again?
One or two icons that you consider your icons in male lead.
Oh, that's real easy. Alphonse Dupree and Damani Dickinson.
Demani Dickerson. So the next question is we ask everyone that comes on the show, whether they are icon or legend, who are some up and coming entertainers that you see having longevity in this community? Three male leads that you see having longevity, up and coming right now.
Oh, I'm gonna say I don't see. I don't be knowing their stage names. Um, but Bill, he just gave up
Mm-hmm.
Right, Bill.
national
Mm-hmm.
um, newcomer of the year.
Yes.
He just has the drive, and he has that. He again that masculine aura on stage. He's like I think that he's someone who's gonna go far. I'm gonna also say the reigning Mr. National Newcomer of the Year, Marcel, and it's because I've seen his work ethic. I've seen the drive that he has and what he pours into it. His weakest category used to be question and answer, but he is diligent in his preparation for question. In fact, I think he probably does more to prepare for question now than he does for any other category.
Good.
And that says a lot about his desire to be effective when competing. Um, who else can I
One more, if you could name one more.
mention? I can't even think of his name. His name is Denzel, actually. Yeah, I think his name is Denzel, and I think he's Amari's child.
Denzel
Um,
Sparkles, my godchild, I think. Denzel Sparkles, the little short baby.
Denzel.
Do you know his title that he might have had?
Denzel is
I think he still can't hear us.
He could hear us. He's just frozen. They said it's storming
Oh,
over there, so he's probably got the Wi-Fi.
I think it's Denzel Sparkles who he's talking
I
about.
think that's who he's talking about also.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. Kamaya, what do you want to be remembered for?
Um, I want to be remembered for being resilient and never giving up.
Never giving
In a nutshell, yeah. Of
up.
course, experience a lot of things in life that you have to learn, to navigate through or with. and never let nothing really, really stop me or hold me down. Always bouncing back and finding ways to be the better version of myself, and never giving up on my dreams or goals. I truly do feel like if you could believe it, then you can achieve it. The only way that you can't is if you give up, then you hold yourself back.
Mhm. When you look back 15 years ago when you started, to where you are now, this entity that has really, really created a name for yourself, would you do anything differently?
I would. I feel like I feel as though I've stifled or held myself back um, in my career in pageantry because I felt like there's levels to this, and I need to win this in order to be this, and I need to win this in order to be good enough for this. And for a number of years, I was reluctant to competing on certain levels or stages because I feel like I hadn't accomplished the prerequisites or what it took to get there, and so I held myself back. And I watched some of my counterparts or people within my generation go forth and be successful at becoming some of the elite or premier titles. And they made me realize that I've held myself back trying to think that, I have to do this in order to be this. So I think
Mm.
that I definitely could have been much further along than I am now had I guess stopped overthinking it and just got out there and did it.
Self awareness is such a beautiful thing. I agree with you. Um, Kendall, what do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for being approachable. Like when I came into pageantry, some of the big names, when I would speak to them, I would just go up to introduce myself to them, not because I necessarily live for them, but because they were a presence in the room. And I was taught that when you walk into a room, you speak. And I definitely received the airs and the noses in the air from some individuals. I'm not gonna name names, but when I started this, I said that I never want to be that person. Every comment that someone makes on my social media, if they're saying something endearing or whatever it is, I try to acknowledge their comments. When people inbox me, as long as they're not being inappropriate or disrespectful, I try to respond to their post. I try to be engaging, and it's for those reasons. You never know what a person's going through. You never know what a person's dealing with, and I don't want to be the straw to break the camel's back for anyone. So I try to, remain as humble as I can be, and you know, just again be approachable, not someone who's sitting up on a pedestal that's not accessible to the community that we're supposed to be serving. So that's mainly that, may the works that I've done speak for me.
Oh,
Oh.
this question is for both of you. No explanation, just one word. Sum up your Duval reign in one word.
Dream.
Okay. Dream. Okay.
Affirming.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Yes,
I
come on.
like that.
Okay. Okay. So, of course, we have to ask both of you what's next? You both are giving up a title this weekend. We know that you have won something a couple of weeks ago, King. I don't know if you're still reigning as anything, Kamaya, because you always in and out. But what's next on your list? What can we look forward to you competing in the near future?
Um,
And yes, you have to answer. Not no, I'm nothing. No. What can we look forward to?
okay, so I'll be honest. Next, possibly the peoples. Possibly the peoples. Um, yeah, possibly the peoples.
Okay.
I have some things in my life that I need to tend to. Like my car just let me down a little while ago, and
Right.
some other things or whatever. But
But
and
if you
I'm,
can
I'm
get it
looking.
together, it would be the future.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of a bit of a break. Like I said,
Mhm.
reigning for 4 titles for a year or where longer, however long, has been a lot and really, really exhausting. So I'm looking forward to maybe just one or even none for a little while, but one, so it won't take so much out of me. But I'm thinking that I may, if I can pull it together, do the peoples, and if I'm successful there, then I'll be working hard to be my best self for that, all while working toward my next big thing.
Okay.
So yeah.
Gotcha. Kendall?
Well, the very next thing for me is going to be my Gay Black Ohio Give Up, which is on August 9th in Cleveland, Ohio. Shameless plug. Um,
Totally fine.
but I did just win Magnifique. I am King Magnifique the Fourth, and as a result of that, which is good for some of y'all, I will not be competing for the next 6 months. I am on a hold. That was intentional for me. And after that, I'm going to be seen in green.
Oh, so is that January you're gonna be seeing the green or 27?
January, I will be seen in green.
Oh, that's gonna be a good for you. Shout out to D West. Okay. All right. You'll have fun over there, yeah. So besides being naked, Kendall, and besides being painted in hair, what can we look forward to this weekend?
Um, Dang, I'm not being painted and for hair.
No,
And
painted in
being
hair was
naked.
Kamaya. Naked is clear to you.
Oh, okay. This weekend, uh, I'm gonna give the people what they want.
Okay.
You know,
And what
I
is
think
that?
I've kind of established a brand of being, a sex
Naked.
siren, but I think I've showed some diversity and range, so that I'm not just boxed in as that sex symbol. But Kamaya has definitely pushed me to be a little more sexy this year. Because there was,
Yeah.
even down to some of the garments that I've worn. I'm just like, I don't know about this. And she's like, it's sexy, King Wear.
So, in other words, audience, he's going to be naked, a little more elevated. Kamaya, what can we look forward to from you?
You can look forward to me, of course, being painted and haired, as you stated. Um, you can look forward to me having fun. I
Yeah.
feel like at this point at Duval, the scores are in, the plaque is made, and he will begin reading at the end of every successful Duval reign. So I can let my hair down. I look forward to having fun. Of course, some nice drag, some nice looks, great entertainment. But ultimately, I'm looking um, forward to, and I think that you guys could expect an amazing camaraderie and fellowship of family, friends, and community. Ultimately, I think that's what Duval is all about.
Do are we can we expect tears when that plaque is presented?
I think that you probably will. Just because I'm just a ball of emotion right now. But it's not really in this moment, and maybe it's because I'm not as far along in my preparation for the weekend as I would like to be, and so the feelings don't really start to hit until I have everything done or just about done. But I don't think it'll be really, really bittersweet for me because I do um, realize that once Duval, always Duval.
Yeah.
And I think that this is only the beginning and it gets much greater later.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm stepping away, it's actually like I'm stepping into a new chapter. So
Hey, ooh, I like that. I'm gonna use that. Kendall, do we expect tears from you?
Oh, baby, like you already know, I'm crying like a baby. I
if
already know.
I you can't cry, earring to the chest. You can't
He gonna
get
put
up
that
there
earring
being
off.
this
That's
your chance to be
feminine.
be the queen. Go ahead. Have at it.
That's why I said that's feminine.
That's
Yeah.
Right.
feminine.
No, men cry.
Men
Men cry.
cry.
I just want to
Okay.
let you
I'm
both
extremely
know that
emotional, and I
I'm going.
think it's definitely going to be some tears. But
The tears are because I recognize the growth in myself. When I competed last year, like I was not in the best mental space. I had a lot going on personally. My car went down on me like a few weeks before the pageant. Lost my transmission went out.
Mm.
And it just felt like everything was a domino effect from that point on. And then like, it's like halfway through my reign when things really started to shift. And I was like, see, okay, yeah, this is what I was waiting on. This is what I was, needing. So to be able to make it through this reign with everything that I faced prior to competing and going into it, y'all gonna get some tears. I'm about to cry now.
Oh
Jeez.
my goodness. Well, I am sparing you both. I'm not going to post my flyer for my give up until after you all give up your pageant. I don't want to rain on your parade. But I'm just playing. I just want to say to both of you, thank you both for being very opening and just loving when I became Miss Duval Plus. Both of you have been tremendous in that. We've had great times in the Airbnbs. Y'all try to get me out of my guarded shell. It just may not have worked how you all wanted it, but and you know the reasonings for that. But I do appreciate both of you for being great kings and queens, not just to me, but for the court. Whoever comes behind you, I don't want to say they have big shoes to fill because I don't think Kamaya has big feet, but I do feel like they have a standard that they have to be set, and I'm going to make sure that they go to set that standard. Considering coming after you, you both have done a great job. So we have been on for 2 hours. You all have gave us great conversation. I definitely want Wendell to give you all the final question before we go. This will stay up. It will be reposted, of course. Um, your give up is this weekend. So anyone that is interested in coming, it is Friday. Excuse me, it is Saturday and Sunday. Please remember that it is a 2-day pageant. It is not a 1-day pageant. You don't want to miss both of the openings. You don't want to miss them. And also be reminded of the parking, the timing, your traveling, all of that. I want to say it's $40 and $50. Kendall, you're the administrator. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
it's
So it's
correct.
40 Saturday,
Saturday
50
night is
Sunday.
40, and
And
Sunday night is 50. And then we also have the review show on Saturday night at
in
I was about to
cahoots.
say 3D at In Cahoots.
Right. So all of that, the 40 and 50, it will be totally worth it because I promise you, these people that are actually coming, we're not talking rumors, that are actually coming, you're going to want to see them battle. It is going to be a great battle. And just on top of that, Kendall and Kamaya deserves the community's support because they have been doing a great job. So again, this will stay up. This will be reposted. It is on Facebook. So excuse me, it is on YouTube. So if you missed it, anybody that came late, you can always go to the YouTube channel and catch it. So Wendell, go ahead and give us that
Yeah.
final question before we
So
depart from our
it's
Duval
been such a
dynasty.
joy speaking with both of you. I've known Kendall for 2 decades, so we've fallen in and fallen out and fallen out and fallen out. So we know each other. But Kamaya, you are such a joy and always just so positive. That's the only thing I can say about you. Every time someone says anything about you, I always tell them I don't have not one negative nothing because you've always just been so positive. And I always tell people the last pageant that I did, had it not been for you and Trinity, I probably would have left the first day. So thank you because you checked on me before every category. You walked over to me with my hair too dark and checked on me. Although you didn't tell me my hair was too dark. No, I'm just playing. But but I love you so much. You are definitely a jewel. So wherever you go, they are lucky to have you because you are that girl. So I
Thank you. Thank
appreciate that from you and thank you. So what we ask of all of our guests is to leave our audience with a nugget, just something that we can take with us through our journey. It doesn't have to be in pageantry. It can be just through life, dealing with family. It could be work, whatever it is. So I'll start with the lady.
you. I would just like to say, in life in general, pageants included, go fight, win. You never know what you can do until you actually do it. And if you don't attempt, then you'll never know. But you definitely have to be in it to win it and give it all that you got. So once again, go fight, and win.
Go fight and win. Kendall.
One of the things I've learned is to be intentional about showing people grace, and that's what I encourage everyone to do. You just, like I said earlier, you never know what people are dealing with. You never know what people are going through, or what situations they're facing on a day-to-day basis, and the very actions that you take, especially as leaders in this community, um, what you say to someone or how you treat them could impact them in ways that is the straw to break the camel's back. And like I said earlier, I never want to be that for anyone. So just be intentional about showing each other grace, loving on each other. We got a lot enough. We have enough opposition that's against us now, especially in this political climate. So where we can, when we can, just show love to each other, y'all.
Amazing. Thank you both.
Well, we will have a recap for the guests that are watching, but thank you all again for such a great tour. It went by so fast because the conversation was so good. We typically, like, if it's some people that we just be like, oh, I constantly watch the clock, but I looked up and I was like, ooh, this has been going on for a minute, but it's a good thing. Again, thank you all for tonight. Thank you all for a great year as the Duval Dynasty, and we will see you all on Saturday. You all get there Friday or
No,
Saturday?
we'll see you Friday.
No, you won't see me Friday. You'll see me Saturday. We'll talk about that.
There you go.
We'll talk about family business later. Kamaya knows, but I'll tell you why. But I will see you all definitely Saturday registration. What is registration again?
Registration.
What
What
is
we gotta wear?
registration? Denim and white.
Okay, dim and white. All right, just making sure. Making sure I got it. But anyway, I love
And
y'all.
dress no cleavage. No cleavage.
Oh well, I can't come.
Put them girls up.
I can't come.
It's
It's not
about us,
cold enough.
not the girls.
I'll do that for y'all. Oh, but that night. They're definitely gonna be out. But anyway, okay, we'll see y'all on this weekend. Shouts out to everyone watching. We appreciate it. And y'all have a good night.
Bye.
All right. So we're gonna
That
do
was
the
really
recap,
good.
guys. So Duval is this weekend. We just spoke with the representatives. Anything that you learned from them? Anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching the three of you together because y'all had really good energy, and I think it was a good example of how a good reign looks when the court actually meshes. I'm sure y'all may have had some disagreements along the way, but it just shows what it looks like. So I really enjoyed watching the three of you. I think that it gave anybody who has an idea about Duval, it gave them that notion that, okay, it could be a family, it could be a unit. So I enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed the conversation. Kamaya was definitely the highlight. I mean, Kendall was too, but I love some of the things that Kamaya was saying. Because if you know Kamaya, you know she's extremely quiet, reserved, and to herself. So to
Yeah.
see her open up tonight, I'm sure she does well in interview just by that. Again, guys, this weekend. So you turned a lot of questions on me, and it wasn't my interview. But when I asked you a specific question, then you clawed back. So you don't want to answer the question, or you don't want anybody to know you. What's up?
Either way it go, you messing it up, whatever it is.
Well, no,
No,
I mean, it's
I just
Tuesday.
don't want to talk about it. I just don't want to talk about it on here.
But I mean, okay. All right. Anyway, guys, thank you all for tuning in. I don't know if Wendell is doing the pageant or not. You have to come and see. That gives you reason to come to the pageant. Not just to see Kendall, not just to see Kamaya or me, but to see if Wendell is actually going to show up like he said he was.
Because once
Uh,
Duval,
once
always
Duval, always
Duval.
Duval. We will see you all next week. Next week's guest. Oh, I don't know if we're going to be able to get through next week's guest because next week's guest is, oh my God. So it might be a lot of, we might be cutting it
And it's
soon
gonna be the
as
perfect time.
it's actually not the perfect time because I don't know how that's going to go. But next week's guest is going to be guesting, and I think that the community is going to be happy to see a different side of them. And so tune in next week, guys. We love y'all, and we will see you all next week. Bye.